Mastering communication is not just a skill, it's the key to unlocking your potential and changing your life. Think about it. Every important moment, every opportunity you've had, and every relationship you've built has one thing in common: communication. Whether you're negotiating a deal, talking to a friend, or presenting an idea at work, the way you communicate can either open doors or keep them shut. And here's the hard truth: most people don't know how to communicate as well as they think they do. But that's where you're different. You're ready to take control. You're ready to improve, step by step. You're ready to make communication one of your strongest assets. Imagine being able to express yourself clearly, confidently, and with purpose every single time you speak. Imagine understanding others so well that you can respond in a way that builds trust, creates connection, and drives action. That's what this book is about. In the following chapters, we'll break down the essential skills that make up effective communication. We're not talking about some abstract theory or complicated strategies. We're talking about real, practical advice that you can apply today. It doesn't matter where you're starting from, whether you're nervous speaking up or already a decent communicator. What matters is that you're committed to becoming better. By the end of this book, you'll be equipped with the tools to communicate with purpose, listen with intent, and build connections that make a real impact. Communication isn't just about talking, it's about connecting. And that's where your growth begins. So if you're ready to transform the way you communicate, this is your first step. Let's get started. Chapter 1: The Foundations of Effective Communication. Communication is the bridge that connects our thoughts to the world. It's the tool we use to build relationships, share ideas, and influence the course of our lives. Yet, so many people struggle with it. They find themselves misunderstood, ignored, or unable to articulate what's truly on their minds. That's why mastering communication isn't just important, it's life-changing. When you know how to communicate effectively, you can open doors you didn't even know existed. You can mend broken relationships, inspire action, and create a ripple effect that changes not just your life, but the lives of those around you. Let's start by breaking it down. Communication isn't just about talking. It's about connection. It's about understanding and being understood. Think about the last time you had a conversation where you truly felt heard. Didn't it feel amazing? Didn't it make you feel valued? That's the power of communication done right. But here's the thing, it doesn't happen by accident. It takes intention, practice, and a willingness to learn. The first step to mastering communication is understanding how it works. Every interaction involves three key players: the sender, the message, and the receiver. You might think this sounds simple, but it's where most people get tripped up. Let's say you're explaining an idea to a friend. You've thought about it, you know it inside out, but somehow they're just not getting it. Frustrating, right? That's because communication isn't just about what you say. It's also about how it's received. The words you choose, your tone, your body language, all of it plays a role. And on the other side, the receiver's mood, focus, and perceptions shape how they interpret your message. It's a two-way street, and every detail matters. To communicate effectively, you need clarity. I can't stress this enough. If you're not clear, you're leaving room for confusion. Before you say anything, ask yourself, what am I really trying to say? Why does it matter? What's the simplest way to get my point across? When you focus on clarity, you're not just making it easier for others to understand you. You're also showing respect for their time and attention. And trust me, people notice that. But communication isn't just about words. It's also about emotions. Think about a time when someone spoke to you with real passion or sincerity. Didn't it make their message stick? That's because emotions have a way of cutting through the noise and reaching people on a deeper level. On the flip side, think about how emotions like anger or frustration can derail a conversation. If you're not aware of your emotional state, it's easy to let it take over and cloud your message. That's why emotional awareness is so important. Before you start a conversation, take a moment to check in with yourself. How are you feeling? How might those feelings influence the way you communicate? By being mindful of your emotions, you can choose to channel them in a way that strengthens your message instead of weakening it. Now, let's talk about what gets in the way. Communication is full of obstacles, and if you're not aware of them, they can sabotage even your best efforts. Distractions are a big one. Have you ever tried talking to someone who's glued to their phone? It's frustrating, right? But distractions aren't just external. Sometimes the noise is in our own heads. Maybe you're preoccupied with what you're going to say next instead of truly listening. Or maybe you're holding on to assumptions about what the other person means without taking the time to clarify. These barriers can create a disconnect that makes real communication impossible. The good news: you can overcome them. It starts with being present. Put down the phone, clear your mind, and focus on the person in front of you. If something's unclear, ask questions. Don't assume. Clarity and presence go hand in hand. One of the most powerful ways to improve your communication is through reflection. Take a moment to think about your recent interactions. Was there a conversation where you felt things didn't go as planned? Maybe you struggled to get your point across. Or maybe you felt unheard. Reflect on what happened. What were you trying to achieve? What got in the way? And most importantly, what can you learn from it? By taking the time to reflect, you're turning every conversation into a learning experience. You're giving yourself the tools to do better next time. Here's something practical you can try right now. Think about a conversation you've had recently, one that stood out for any reason. Grab a notebook and write about it. What was the purpose of the conversation? How did it make you feel? What do you think went well, and what could have been better? As you write, be honest with yourself. This isn't about beating yourself up. It's about learning and growing. Once you've done that, set one small goal for improvement. Maybe it's something like, I'll focus on listening without interrupting, or I'll work on being more concise when explaining my ideas. Whatever it is, make it specific and actionable. Remember, mastering communication is a journey, not a destination. It's something you'll work on your entire life, and that's a good thing. Every conversation is an opportunity to learn, to connect, and to grow. The more you practice, the better you'll get. And as you improve, you'll start to see the ripple effects. Your relationships will deepen, your confidence will grow, and you'll find yourself opening doors you never even knew existed. So take that first step. Start reflecting, start practicing, and start building the skills that will change your life. Because when you master communication, you're not just improving how you interact with others, you're unlocking your full potential. Chapter 2: The Art of Active Listening. Listening is not just about hearing words. It's about understanding, connecting, and showing the person in front of you that they matter. Think about it. When was the last time someone really listened to you? Not just nodded along, not just waited for their turn to talk, but actually took the time to hear you, to understand you. It's rare, isn't it? And yet when it happens, it's unforgettable. That's the kind of power listening has. It can turn a casual conversation into a meaningful connection, a misunderstanding into clarity, and even a conflict into an opportunity for growth. But here's the truth: most people won't tell you listening is hard work. It's not something that just happens naturally for most of us. Our minds are busy. We're thinking about what we want to say next, or we're distracted by our phones, or we're caught up in our own emotions. Real listening requires focus, patience, and a genuine desire to understand the other person. It's a skill, one that can be learned, practiced, and mastered. And when you do, it will transform not just your communication, but your relationships and your life. Let's start with what listening really means. It's not just about staying quiet while the other person talks. It's about being present. It's about giving them your full attention, not just with your ears, but with your mind and your heart. When someone is speaking to you, they're not just sharing words, they're sharing a part of themselves. They're trusting you with their thoughts, their feelings, their experiences. And when you listen, truly listen, you're telling them that their voice matters, that they matter. That's powerful. To become a better listener, you need to start by quieting your own mind. This is easier said than done, I know, but it's essential. If you're busy planning your response while the other person is talking, you're not really listening. You're just waiting for your turn to speak. Instead, try this. The next time someone is talking to you, focus entirely on their words. Don't think about what you're going to say next. Don't interrupt. Just listen. Pay attention to the words they're using, the tone of their voice, the emotions behind their words. Let them finish before you respond. It might feel awkward at first, but you'll be amazed at how much more you understand and how much more meaningful the conversation becomes. Another key to listening is asking questions. Not the kind of questions that are just meant to fill the silence, but questions that show you're truly engaged. Questions like, what did you mean by that? Or how did that make you feel? Or can you tell me more about that? These kinds of questions show the other person that you're not just hearing them, you're trying to understand them. And when people feel understood, they open up, they share more, and that's when real connection happens. Of course, listening isn't just about words. It's also about what's not being said. Pay attention to body language, facial expressions, and tone of voice. These non-verbal cues can tell you as much, if not more, than the words themselves. Maybe someone says they're fine, but their voice is shaky, and they won't meet your eyes. Or maybe they say they're happy, but their posture is slouched, and they're fidgeting with their hands. These are clues that there's more going on beneath the surface. By noticing and acknowledging these non-verbal cues, you can show the other person that you're paying attention to all of them, not just their words. But let's be real. Even with the best intentions, listening isn't always easy. Sometimes the other person is saying something you don't want to hear. Or maybe they're taking too long to get to the point. Or maybe you're just tired and distracted. In these moments, it's tempting to tune out or to cut them off. But these are the moments when listening matters most. Because it's not just about the easy conversations, it's about the hard ones too. It's about showing up fully, even when it's inconvenient or uncomfortable. That's what sets great listeners apart from everyone else. If you want to take your listening to the next level, try this exercise. Find someone you trust, a friend, a partner, a colleague, and tell them you want to practice your listening skills. Ask them to share something with you, anything they want, and commit to listening without interrupting. Focus on their words, their tone, their body language. When they're done, summarize what you heard. Say something like, "So what I'm hearing is," and then repeat back what they said in your own words. Ask if you got it right. This simple exercise can be incredibly eye-opening. It'll show you how much you're really listening and where you might need to improve. The truth is, listening is one of the most valuable skills you can develop. It's the foundation of effective communication, the key to building strong relationships, and a powerful tool for personal and professional growth. When you listen, You're not just hearing words, you're creating connection, building trust, and making people feel valued. And in a world where so many people feel unheard and overlooked, that's a gift that can make all the difference. So start today. Make a commitment to becoming a better listener. Practice being present. Ask thoughtful questions. Pay attention to what's not being said. And most importantly, listen with your heart as well as your ears. It won't be easy, and it won't happen overnight. But with time, patience, and practice, you'll develop a skill that will not only transform your communication, but also enrich every area of your life. Because when you truly listen, you're not just hearing someone, you're honoring them. And that's a power that can change the world. Chapter 3. Body Language. The Unspoken Communication. Your body speaks louder than your words ever could. Think about it. Long before you open your mouth to say anything, your posture, your gestures, your facial expressions, all of these are already telling your story. They're shaping how people see you, how they feel about you, and even how they respond to you. Have you ever met someone who instantly commanded respect the moment they walked into a room? They didn't have to say a word. Their presence said it all. That's the power of body language, and it's a tool you can learn to master. The thing about body language is that it's honest. While we can choose our words carefully, our bodies tend to reveal what's really going on inside. A forced smile can't hide tense shoulders. Shifty eyes will betray an otherwise calm demeanor. And crossed arms, well, they scream defensiveness or discomfort, even if you're trying to appear relaxed. This is why understanding and controlling your body language is so important. It's not just about sending the right message. It's about aligning what you're saying with how you're saying it. When those two things match, people trust you. They believe you. And trust is the foundation of every meaningful connection. One of the first steps to mastering body language is becoming aware of your own. Pay attention to how you stand, how you sit, and how you move. Are you slouching? Are your arms crossed? Do you avoid eye contact? These might seem like small things, but they can have a big impact on how others perceive you. Start by practicing an open posture. Stand tall, with your shoulders back and your head held high. Keep your arms relaxed at your sides and face the person you're speaking to. This doesn't just make you look confident, it makes you feel confident. And that confidence will come through in everything you do. Eye contact is another critical piece of the puzzle. It's one of the simplest yet most powerful ways to build connection and trust. When you look someone in the eye, you're telling them that you're present, that you're engaged, and that you're genuinely interested in what they have to say. But too much eye contact can feel intimidating, and too little can come across as disinterest or insecurity. The key is finding the right balance. Aim to hold eye contact for a few seconds at a time, then glance away briefly before returning your gaze. This creates a natural rhythm that feels comfortable and authentic. Your facial expressions are equally important. A genuine smile can light up a conversation, while a furrowed brow can shut it down. But remember, people can usually tell when a smile is fake. A real smile reaches your eyes. It's not just about what your mouth is doing, and don't underestimate the power of a neutral expression either. Sometimes, simply keeping your face calm and attentive can show that you're listening and that you care. Gestures play a huge role in communication too. Think about how you use your hands when you talk. Are your gestures open and inviting, or are they closed off and restrictive? Open gestures, like spreading your arms or showing your palms, signal honesty and openness. They make you appear approachable and trustworthy. On the other hand, pointing or making abrupt, jerky movements can come across as aggressive or defensive. The goal is to use gestures that complement your words, not distract from them. Let your hands move naturally, but keep them controlled and purposeful. Now let's talk about reading body language, not just your own but other people's as well. This is a skill that can completely change the way you interact with others. When you can pick up on the subtle cues that someone is sending, you gain insight into how they're feeling, what they're thinking, and how they're likely to respond. For example, if someone is leaning toward you, it's a sign they're engaged and interested. If they're leaning away, they might be uncomfortable or disengaged. If their arms are crossed, they could be feeling defensive or closed off. But context matters. Maybe they're just cold. The point is to observe patterns and consider the situation before jumping to conclusions. Pay attention to micro-expressions as well. These are the tiny, fleeting facial expressions that reveal a person's true emotions before they have a chance to hide them. They happen in a fraction of a second, but if you're paying attention, you can catch them. A quick flash of anger, a fleeting look of sadness, or a brief smile can tell you a lot about what someone is really feeling, even if they're trying to hide it. Developing this skill takes practice, but it's worth the effort. Body language isn't just about observation. It's also about adaptation. The more you understand the non-verbal signals of others, the better you can adjust your own behavior to build rapport and foster connection. For instance, if someone seems nervous or uncomfortable, you might soften your tone, give them more personal space, or use calming gestures to put them at ease. On the flip side, if someone seems excited and animated, you can mirror their energy to match their enthusiasm. This ability to adapt is what makes communication truly effective. But let's not forget the most important part of all this: authenticity. Body language isn't about faking confidence or pretending to be something you're not. It's about becoming more aware of the signals you're sending and making sure they align with who you really are. People can sense when you're being genuine, and they're drawn to it. So don't focus on trying to look a certain way or act a certain way. Focus on being yourself, but the best, most confident version of yourself. To bring all of this together, let's try a little experiment. The next time you're in a social setting, take a moment to observe your own body language. Are you standing tall and open, or are you slouching and closed off? Are you making eye contact, or are you looking away? Then, start observing others. Notice their posture, their gestures, their facial expressions. What do these cues tell you about how they're feeling? And how can you adjust your own body language to create a stronger connection? The more you practice this, the more natural it will become. Mastering body language isn't just about improving your communication, it's about empowering yourself. When you understand and control the signals you're sending, you take control of how the world sees you. You build confidence, you foster trust, and you create opportunities for deeper, more meaningful connections. And that, my friend, is a skill that will serve you for the rest of your life. Chapter 4. Clarity in Speech. Expressing ideas effectively. Words have the power to shape your reality. Every idea, every dream, every plan, it all starts with how you choose to express yourself. Think about it. How many times have you walked away from a conversation feeling misunderstood, frustrated, or even regretful because you couldn't find the right words? Now imagine the opposite. Picture yourself clearly articulating your thoughts and leaving an impact every time you speak. That's the kind of power clear and effective communication can give you. And the best part, this isn't a gift reserved for a select few. It's a skill you can learn, practice, and master. Clarity in speech begins with clarity of thought. Before you open your mouth to speak, take a moment to organize your ideas. This doesn't mean scripting out every word or overthinking. It's about knowing what you want to say and why it matters. When you're clear on your message, it becomes so much easier to deliver it in a way that others can understand. Think of it like packing a suitcase. If you try to cram in everything without a plan, it becomes chaotic and hard to manage. But when you're deliberate about what you include, everything fits perfectly, and you're ready to go. Communication works the same way. Decide what's essential, focus on that, and let go of the rest. One of the biggest obstacles to clear speech is overcomplicating things. You don't need fancy words or long-winded explanations to make a point. In fact, the simpler your language, the more powerful your message becomes. Think about the great speeches that have inspired millions. They weren't filled with jargon or overly complex ideas. They were simple, direct, and easy to understand. When you strip away the unnecessary fluff, what remains is pure and impactful. Speak like you're having a conversation with a friend. Use words that resonate, that feel natural, and that connect on a human level. A big part of expressing yourself effectively is knowing your audience. Who are you speaking to? What do they care about? What do they need from you in that moment? Tailoring your message to fit your audience shows that you care, that you've taken the time to understand them, and that you're invested in making the conversation meaningful. It's not about changing who you are or what you stand for. It's about framing your message in a way that makes sense to the person listening. Whether you're talking to a friend, a colleague, or a room full of strangers, always keep your audience in mind. Tone is another crucial element. The way you say something can be just as important as the words you choose. Your tone sets the mood and conveys emotions that words alone can't capture. A warm, friendly tone invites connection, while a cold or harsh tone can push people away. Pay attention to the energy you bring to your words. Are you speaking with enthusiasm and conviction, or do you sound hesitant and unsure? Your tone should match the message you're trying to convey. If you're excited about an idea, let that excitement come through. If you're discussing something serious, let your tone reflect that gravity. One of the most overlooked aspects of effective communication is listening. Yes, listening. When you take the time to truly hear what someone else is saying, it not only deepens the connection, but also gives you valuable insights that can guide your response. Listening isn't just about waiting for your turn to speak. It's about being fully present in the moment. Pay attention to the words, the tone, and even the silences. Sometimes, what's left unsaid speaks volumes. When you listen well, you're better equipped to respond in a way that's thoughtful, relevant, and impactful. Let's not forget the power of storytelling. Stories have a way of capturing attention, stirring emotions, and making ideas stick. When you weave a story into your message, you create a connection that facts and data alone can't achieve. People remember stories because they resonate on a human level. Think about a time when someone's story moved you, inspired you, or changed your perspective. That's the kind of impact you can have when you use storytelling effectively. You don't need to be a novelist to tell a good story. It can be as simple as sharing a personal experience or painting a picture of a scenario that illustrates your point. Confidence is key when it comes to clear and effective speech. If you don't believe in what you're saying, why should anyone else? Confidence doesn't mean being loud or overbearing. It means speaking with assurance and conviction. It's about owning your words and standing behind your message. Even if you're nervous, you can project confidence by slowing down, making eye contact, and speaking clearly. Remember, confidence isn't about being perfect. It's about being authentic and trusting yourself to communicate your message. Pauses are a powerful tool in communication. They give you a moment to gather your thoughts, emphasize important points, and allow your audience to absorb what you've said. Don't be afraid of silence. A well-placed pause can add weight to your words and make your message more memorable. When you're tempted to fill every moment with sound, remember that silence can speak just as loudly as words. Practice is essential for mastering the art of clear speech. The more you practice, the more natural it becomes. Start small. Practice explaining a concept to a friend, sharing a story, or even recording yourself to see how you come across. Pay attention to your pacing, your tone, and your clarity. Over time, you'll notice improvements, and what once felt challenging will start to feel effortless. Like any skill, communication gets better with consistent effort and a willingness to learn. But above all, remember that communication is a two-way street. It's not just about expressing yourself, it's about connecting with others. When you approach every conversation with a genuine desire to understand and be understood, you create a space where meaningful communication can thrive. It's not about being perfect or saying all the right things. It's about being present, being intentional, and being true to yourself. So the next time you speak, take a moment to center yourself, to think about your message, and to speak with purpose. You have the power to inspire, to connect, and to make a difference with your words. Use it wisely. Chapter 5. Persuasion Techniques. Influencing others. You have more influence than you realize. Every conversation, every interaction, every opportunity to connect with someone is a chance to leave an impact, to shape their perspective, to inspire action. Think about that for a second. How often do you truly consider the power of your words and the way you present your ideas? Persuasion isn't about manipulation or forcing people to agree with you. It's about creating a connection so strong, so genuine, that they willingly see things from your perspective. It's about finding that common ground and building a bridge, not just to their mind but to their heart. At the core of persuasion is trust. If people don't trust you, they won't be moved by your words, no matter how polished your arguments are. Trust begins with authenticity. Be yourself. Speak with integrity. When your words align with your actions, you show people that you're credible and worth listening to. Think about the people who've inspired you the most. Chances are they weren't trying to sell you anything or win you over with flashy language. They believed in what they were saying, and that belief made you believe too. That's the essence of persuasion. Leading with sincerity. Understanding the psychology behind persuasion can make you a more effective communicator. People are wired to respond to certain triggers, and knowing how to tap into those can help you connect on a deeper level. For example, people tend to reciprocate kindness. If you offer value first, whether it's a helpful tip, a thoughtful gesture, or even just your time, they're more likely to listen to you and feel inclined to give back. Another powerful principle is authority. When you demonstrate expertise or experience, people naturally look to you for guidance. But remember, authority doesn't mean arrogance. It's about sharing your knowledge in a way that empowers others. Stories are one of the most effective tools in your persuasive arsenal. Why? Because stories speak to the heart. They bypass logic and tap directly into emotion. A well-told story can make people feel seen, understood, and connected. It's one thing to present facts and data. It's another to show how those facts play out in real life. When you share a personal story or an example that illustrates your point, you're not just making an argument, you're inviting people into an experience. They don't just hear you, they feel you. And when people feel something, they're far more likely to take action. The way you frame your message matters just as much as the message itself. Framing is all about perspective. Are you presenting your ideas in a way that highlights the benefits? Are you addressing concerns and showing empathy for the challenges people face? When you acknowledge their doubts and fears, you show that you're not just trying to push your agenda, you're trying to understand them. That understanding creates a sense of partnership, which is crucial for persuasion. People are more likely to be persuaded when they feel like you're working with them, not against them. Body language is another powerful aspect of persuasion. Your words might be saying one thing, but if your posture, facial expressions and gestures don't match, people will pick up on that disconnect. Confidence shines through in the way you carry yourself. Stand tall, make eye contact, and use open gestures. These subtle cues signal that you're self-assured and trustworthy. And don't forget to pay attention to the other person's body language too. Are they leaning in, nodding, or maintaining eye contact? Those are signs that they're engaged and receptive. If they seem closed off or distracted, it might be time to adjust your approach. The words you choose can make or break your message. Persuasion thrives on clarity and simplicity. Avoid overloading your audience with too much information or trying to sound overly intellectual. Speak in a way that's easy to follow and resonates with their values and priorities. Instead of saying, "You should do this because it's logical," try framing it as, "This could really improve your life in ways you care about." People are more likely to act when they can see how your ideas align with what matters to them. Timing is another factor that can enhance your persuasiveness. Sometimes, it's not just about what you say, but when you say it. Pay attention to the moment and the mood. Is the person you're speaking to in a state of mind to receive your message? Are they stressed, distracted, or preoccupied? If so, it might be better to wait for a time when they're more open and relaxed. Being mindful of timing shows that you respect their space and increases the chances that they'll truly hear you. One of the most underrated aspects of persuasion is listening. Yes, listening. When you take the time to hear someone out, you show them that their voice matters. And when people feel heard, they're more likely to listen to you in return. Listening also gives you valuable insights into what the other person values, what they fear, and what motivates them. Use that information to tailor your message so it speaks directly to their needs. Remember, persuasion isn't about overpowering someone with your ideas. It's about meeting them where they are and guiding them to a new perspective. Empathy is the glue that holds persuasive communication together. When you show genuine care and concern for the other person's feelings and experiences, you create a bond that's hard to break. Empathy isn't about agreeing with everything someone says. It's about validating their emotions and showing that you understand where they're coming from. It's the difference between saying, "You're wrong," and saying, "I see why you feel that way." Here's another perspective to consider. That small shift can make a huge difference in how your message is received. Finally, remember that persuasion is a skill that takes time and practice. You're not going to master it overnight, and that's okay. Start with small steps. Practice explaining your ideas to a friend or family member. Pay attention to their reactions and ask for feedback. Over time, you'll become more attuned to what works and what doesn't. The more you practice, the more natural it will feel, and the more effective you'll become. So the next time you find yourself in a position to persuade, remember this: speak with authenticity, listen with empathy, and act with integrity. Your words have the power to inspire change, to build connections, and to create opportunities. Use them wisely, and watch as the world around you transforms, one conversation at a time. Chapter 6. Handling difficult conversations with grace. Every meaningful relationship, whether personal or professional, will eventually face moments of friction. These are the moments that test your patience, your empathy, and your ability to communicate. It's easy to avoid conflict or let emotions take over, but the truth is, Handling difficult conversations with grace is one of the most valuable skills you can develop. It's not just about resolving issues, it's about building trust, preserving relationships, and learning to navigate life with a sense of maturity and calm. When you know a tough conversation is on the horizon, your first instinct might be to avoid it altogether. Who wants to deal with tension, discomfort, or the possibility of saying the wrong thing? But avoidance rarely solves anything. In fact, it often makes things worse. Problems fester, misunderstandings grow, and what could have been a small issue becomes a much bigger one. The key is to face it head-on, but to do so with intention and preparation. Start by getting clear on your purpose. What is the outcome you want from this conversation? Are you seeking resolution, understanding, or simply to express how you feel? Knowing your purpose will help you stay focused and prevent the conversation from going off track. Take some time to think about your goals and be honest with yourself. If your goal is to simply vent or prove a point, you might need to reframe your approach. The best conversations are those where both parties feel heard and respected. Emotions play a huge role in difficult conversations. It's natural to feel frustrated, hurt, or even angry when tensions are high, but letting those emotions take over can derail the entire interaction. Before you step into the conversation, take a moment to check in with yourself. Are you calm enough to approach this with a level head? If not, give yourself some time to cool down. Take a walk, breathe deeply, or write down your thoughts. Coming into the conversation with a sense of composure will set the tone and help prevent it from escalating. Empathy is your greatest tool in handling conflict. It's easy to get so caught up in your own perspective that you forget to consider the other person's. But taking the time to see things from their point of view can completely shift the dynamic. Ask yourself, why might they feel this way? What might they be experiencing or thinking? Even if you don't agree with their perspective, acknowledging it shows that you value their feelings and are willing to listen. And when people feel heard, they're far more likely to open up and work toward a solution. The way you start the conversation matters more than you might think. Diving in with accusations or criticisms will immediately put the other person on the defensive. Instead, approach it with curiosity and a willingness to collaborate. You might say something like, "I've been feeling concerned about something, and I'd really like to talk it through with you." This kind of opening sets the stage for a productive dialogue rather than a heated argument. Listening is just as important as speaking, if not more so. Too often we're so focused on what we want to say next that we don't really hear the other person. But truly listening not just to their words, but to the emotions behind them can make all the difference. Pay attention to their tone, their body language, and the feelings they're expressing. Reflect back what you hear to show that you're paying attention. For example, you might say, "It sounds like you're really frustrated about this situation." This simple act of validation can help de-escalate tension and create a sense of mutual understanding. It's also important to choose your words carefully. The language you use can either build a bridge or create a barrier. Avoid blame or judgment and focus on expressing your own feelings and needs. Instead of saying, "You never listen to me," try saying, "I feel unheard, and it's really important to me that we communicate better." This subtle shift keeps the focus on your experience rather than attacking the other person, which makes them more likely to respond positively. Timing plays a crucial role in the success of a difficult conversation. If the other person is stressed, distracted, or in a bad mood, they're less likely to engage constructively. Look for a moment when both of you are calm and have the time to give the conversation the attention it deserves. And if they're not ready to talk, respect that. Forcing the issue will only make things worse. Instead, let them know you're open to discussing it when the time feels right. Conflict resolution isn't about winning or losing, it's about finding a path forward that works for both of you. That means being willing to compromise and look for solutions together. Ask open-ended questions like, "What do you think we can do to make this better?" or "How can we move forward from here?" This collaborative approach not only helps resolve the issue, but also strengthens the relationship by showing that you're invested in working as a team. One of the hardest parts of handling difficult conversations is managing your own reactions. It's easy to get defensive or let emotions take over, especially if the other person says something hurtful. But reacting impulsively will only escalate the situation. Instead, take a deep breath and remind yourself to stay focused on the bigger picture. What do you want to achieve from this conversation? How can you respond in a way that aligns with that goal? Staying grounded and composed will help keep the conversation productive. Apologies can be incredibly powerful in diffusing tension and rebuilding trust. If you've made a mistake, own up to it. A genuine apology shows humility and a willingness to take responsibility for your actions. But be careful to avoid empty or insincere apologies. Saying, "I'm sorry if you felt that way," can come across as dismissive. Instead, say something like, "I'm sorry for what I said. I realize it was hurtful, and I'll do my best to be more mindful in the future." This kind of accountability goes a long way in mending relationships. After the conversation, take some time to reflect on how it went. What worked well? What could you have done differently? Handling difficult conversations is a skill, and like any skill, it gets better with practice. Don't be too hard on yourself if it doesn't go perfectly. The fact that you're willing to engage in these tough dialogues shows courage and a commitment to growth. At the end of the day, difficult conversations are an opportunity. They're a chance to deepen your understanding of yourself and others, to strengthen your relationships, and to develop the kind of communication skills that will serve you in every area of your life. So don't shy away from them. Embrace them with an open mind and a compassionate heart, and you'll find that even the toughest conversations can lead to meaningful growth and connection. Chapter 7. Building rapport. Connecting with others. Have you ever noticed how some people can walk into a room and instantly put everyone at ease? There's a warmth, an energy about them that makes others want to listen, to connect, and to trust them. That's the power of building rapport, and it's one of the most valuable skills you can master. Whether you're meeting someone for the first time or deepening an existing relationship, the ability to establish a genuine connection can open doors you never even knew existed. Rapport isn't just about being friendly or charming, it's about creating a sense of understanding and trust, where both people feel seen, heard, and valued. And here's the thing, building rapport isn't reserved for the naturally outgoing or extroverted. It's a skill that anyone can develop with practice, intention, and the right mindset. It starts with a simple principle. People want to feel understood. They want to know that their thoughts, feelings, and experiences matter. When you can show someone that you're genuinely interested in who they are and what they have to say, you've taken the first step toward building a meaningful connection. The foundation of rapport is empathy. It's about stepping into someone else's shoes and seeing the world through their eyes. Think about a time when you felt truly understood by someone. Maybe it was a friend who listened without judgment, a mentor who encouraged you, or even a stranger who offered a kind word at just the right moment. How did that make you feel? That's the kind of connection you want to create with others. It's not about agreeing with everything they say or having the same experiences. It's about showing that you care enough to try to understand. One of the simplest ways to build rapport is through active listening. When someone is speaking to you, give them your full attention. Put away your phone, maintain eye contact, and focus on what they're saying rather than planning your response. Nod occasionally, smile when appropriate, and use small verbal cues like "I see." That makes sense to show that you're engaged. When they're finished speaking, reflect back what you've heard. You might say, "So if I'm understanding you correctly, you're feeling," or "It sounds like you're saying." This not only shows that you're paying attention, but also gives them the opportunity to clarify if needed. Another key to building rapport is finding common ground. People naturally connect with those who share their interests, values, or experiences. Pay attention to what the other person is passionate about and look for ways to relate. Maybe you both love the same type of music, grew up in similar neighborhoods, or share a commitment to a particular cause. Even small connections, like a mutual love of coffee or a shared dislike for rainy days, can help establish a sense of camaraderie. But don't force it. Authenticity is crucial. If you don't have anything in common, that's okay. The act of showing genuine interest in their passions can be just as powerful. Body language also plays a significant role in building rapport. People often respond to the nonverbal cues you're sending, sometimes without even realizing it. Open, relaxed body language, like uncrossed arms, a slight lean forward, and a genuine smile, can make you seem more approachable and trustworthy. Pay attention to the other person's body language as well. Are they leaning in or pulling back? Do they seem comfortable or guarded? Mirroring their posture and gestures, subtly and naturally, can help create a sense of alignment and harmony. One of the most underrated tools for building rapport is curiosity. Ask questions that show you're interested in learning more about the person. Avoid superficial small talk and instead dive deeper. Instead of asking, "What do you do for a living?" try, "What do you enjoy most about your work?" or "What inspired you to pursue that path?" These types of questions not only keep the conversation flowing, but also give the other person an opportunity to share something meaningful about themselves. And when they do, respond with genuine enthusiasm and interest. People can tell when you're faking it, so let your curiosity be real. Humor can also be a powerful way to connect with others. Laughter creates an instant bond and helps break down barriers. You don't need to be a stand-up comedian or crack jokes every other sentence, but sharing a light-hearted moment can go a long way in building rapport. Be mindful, though, of the context and the person's comfort level. What's funny to one person might not be to another, so use humor thoughtfully and tactfully. Building rapport is also about adapting to the other person's communication style. Some people are more direct and to the point, while others prefer to ease into a conversation with small talk. Pay attention to their tone, pace, and choice of words, and adjust your approach accordingly. If someone is reserved, don't overwhelm them with high-energy chatter. If they're animated and expressive, match their enthusiasm. This doesn't mean you have to change who you are. It's about meeting people where they're at and creating a sense of comfort and familiarity. When building rapport, it's important to be patient. Deep connections don't happen overnight. Sometimes it takes time for trust and understanding to develop. Be consistent in your efforts, and don't get discouraged if you don't click right away. The more you practice these skills, the more natural they'll become, and the easier it will be to connect with others on a deeper level. At the heart of it all, building rapport is about being genuine. People can sense when you're being authentic and when you're not. Be yourself, and let your interactions come from a place of sincerity. Show kindness, respect, and a true desire to connect, and you'll find that building rapport becomes less of a task and more of a natural extension of who you are. Think about the relationships in your life that matter most. How did they begin? What moments brought you closer? Chances are, those connections were built on a foundation of trust, empathy, and shared experiences. By cultivating these qualities in your interactions, you can build rapport with anyone, anywhere, and the impact goes far beyond the conversation itself. When you make someone feel valued and understood, you're not just building rapport, you're creating a ripple effect of positivity and connection that can change lives, including your own. Chapter 8. Public Speaking. Overcoming Fear and Engaging Audiences. Fear is a thief. It robs you of your voice, your confidence, and your ability to share your unique gifts with the world. But here's the truth. The power to overcome fear and shine is already within you. Public speaking, for many, is one of the most intimidating challenges out there. It's that moment when all eyes are on you, when every word and gesture feels magnified. But imagine this. What if that moment could be your greatest triumph? What if, instead of dread, you felt a surge of excitement, knowing that your voice could inspire, inform, and connect with others on a deep level? The fear of public speaking isn't just about standing in front of a crowd. It's about vulnerability, about the fear of judgment or making mistakes. But let me tell you something that can change how you see it. Those moments of vulnerability, those little cracks in your confidence, are where your authenticity shines through. People don't connect with perfection, they connect with realness. They connect with the courage it takes to stand up and say, "This is me, this is what I have to share." The first step to conquering the fear of public speaking is understanding that it's okay to feel nervous. Nerves are a sign that you care. They're your body's way of gearing up for something important. Instead of fighting the nerves, embrace them. Channel that energy into your words, your gestures, and your presence. The key is not to eliminate fear, but to transform it into fuel. Imagine standing on a stage, feeling your heart race. Instead of letting it overwhelm you, let it remind you that you're alive, that you're about to do something meaningful. Preparation is your greatest ally when it comes to public speaking. The more you prepare, the more confident you'll feel. But preparation doesn't just mean memorizing your speech word for word. It means understanding your message inside and out, knowing why it matters to you and why it should matter to your audience. It means practicing until the words feel like a natural extension of your thoughts, but not so much that you lose the spontaneity that makes your delivery genuine. Practice in front of a mirror. Record yourself or rehearse with a trusted friend. Each time, focus not just on what you're saying, but on how you're saying it. Your tone, your pacing, your body language, all of it contributes to the impact of your message. One of the most powerful tools you have as a speaker is your story. People are hardwired to respond to stories. They capture attention, stir emotions, and make your message memorable. Think about the experiences in your life that have shaped you, that have taught you valuable lessons. Those moments, no matter how big or small, can be the foundation of a compelling speech. Share them with honesty and vulnerability, and you'll find that your audience is more likely to connect with you and your message. When you're on stage, remember that it's not about you, it's about your audience. Shift your focus from "what if I mess up" to "how can I serve the people in front of me?" When you're genuinely invested in delivering value to your audience, your fears start to fade into the background. Think about what they need, what they're hoping to gain from your words. Speak to their struggles, their dreams, their questions. Make it about them, and you'll find that the connection you create is stronger than any fear you're feeling. Engaging your audience isn't just about what you say, it's about how you make them feel. Use your voice to convey emotion and energy. Vary your tone, pitch and volume to keep your audience's attention. Pause strategically to let important points sink in. Make eye contact with different people in the room, creating a sense of personal connection. And don't be afraid to smile or show enthusiasm. Your passion for your message is contagious, and when your audience sees that you believe in what you're saying, they're more likely to believe in it too. Mistakes are inevitable, but they're not the end of the world. In fact, they can be an opportunity to show your humanity. If you stumble over a word, laugh it off and keep going. If you forget a point, take a deep breath and pause to collect your thoughts. Your audience isn't expecting perfection, they're expecting authenticity. And sometimes, it's the moments of imperfection that make a speech truly memorable. They remind your audience that you're just like them, a person with strengths and flaws, doing your best to share something meaningful. Confidence in public speaking doesn't come from pretending to be someone you're not. It comes from embracing who you are and trusting that your voice matters. It's about standing tall, speaking with conviction, and knowing that even if you don't reach everyone in the room, you've made an impact on someone. It's about taking that leap of faith, stepping into the spotlight, and letting your light shine. Imagine the ripple effect of your words. That one idea, that one story, that one piece of advice you share could inspire someone to take action, to see the world differently, to believe in themselves. That's the power you hold as a speaker. And it's not about being perfect, it's about being present. It's about showing up, giving your best, and trusting that your message will find the people who need it most. So the next time you find yourself in front of an audience, big or small, take a deep breath and remember why you're there. Remember the value you have to offer and the lives you have the potential to touch. Let go of the fear of judgment and focus on the opportunity to connect, to inspire, to make a difference. Because when you speak from the heart, with honesty and passion, your words have the power to change the world, one person, one moment, one speech at a time. Chapter 9. Communication in professional settings. Communication is the lifeblood of success in any professional setting. Think about it for a moment. Every great idea, every groundbreaking project, every strong professional relationship begins with one thing: effective communication. Whether you're leading a team, pitching an idea, or collaborating with colleagues, the way you communicate shapes how others perceive you and ultimately how far you go in your career. It's not just about being heard, it's about being understood, respected, and remembered. That's the power of communication in the workplace, and it's something anyone can master with the right mindset and tools. In professional settings, the stakes are often higher, and the dynamics are more complex. You're dealing with different personalities, hierarchies, and expectations. It can feel overwhelming at times, but here's the truth: communication is your superpower. It's what sets you apart, what helps you navigate challenges, and what makes you indispensable. The good news is that becoming a great communicator isn't about being naturally charismatic or extroverted. It's about being intentional, adaptable, and empathetic. These are skills you can develop, and they'll serve you not just in your career, but in every area of your life. Let's start with something foundational: clarity. In the fast-paced world of work, there's no room for ambiguity or misunderstanding. Clarity is about making sure your message is straightforward and leaves no room for confusion. This applies to emails, presentations, meetings, and one-on-one conversations. Before you speak or write, ask yourself, what is the core message I want to convey? What do I want the other person to take away from this? When you're clear on your purpose, your communication becomes more focused and impactful. But clarity isn't just about the words you use. It's also about your tone and body language. People pick up on non-verbal cues just as much as, if not more than, the words themselves. Think about the last time someone's tone completely changed how you interpreted their message. Maybe they said the right thing, but their tone was dismissive or insincere, and it left you feeling uncertain or even offended. That's why being mindful of how you say something is just as important as what you say. Your tone should match your intent, and your body language should reinforce your words, not contradict them. Another crucial aspect of professional communication is adaptability. No two interactions are the same, and what works in one situation might not work in another. For example, the way you speak to your boss might be different from how you address a peer or a client. Being adaptable means reading the room, understanding your audience, and tailoring your approach to fit the context. It's about being flexible without losing authenticity. This adaptability shows emotional intelligence, a trait that's highly valued in the workplace. Listening is another skill that's often overlooked but incredibly powerful. True listening isn't just about hearing words, it's about understanding the message behind them. It's about making the other person feel valued and respected. In a professional setting, active listening can transform relationships and lead to better collaboration. When you listen carefully, you pick up on nuances, ask better questions, and respond more effectively. It's not just about waiting for your turn to speak, it's about being fully present in the conversation. And when people feel heard, they're more likely to engage with you and trust you. Feedback is another cornerstone of workplace communication, both giving and receiving it. Constructive feedback is one of the most valuable tools for growth, but it's also one of the most challenging to navigate. When giving feedback, focus on being specific, respectful, and solution-oriented. Instead of criticizing, aim to guide and encourage. For example, instead of saying, "This report is all wrong," you could say, "I noticed some areas in the report that could be clarified to make it more impactful. Let's go through them together." This approach fosters collaboration rather than defensiveness. Receiving feedback is equally important. It's natural to feel defensive or even hurt when someone critiques your work, but remember that feedback is a gift. It's an opportunity to learn and improve. Instead of shutting down or arguing, take a moment to process the feedback and see it as a chance for growth. Ask questions if you need clarification, and thank the person for their input, even if it's hard to hear. This shows maturity and a commitment to self-improvement, qualities that stand out in any professional setting. Navigating workplace dynamics and hierarchies can be tricky, but effective communication is your best tool for building strong relationships. Whether you're interacting with a supervisor, a colleague, or someone you manage, respect and empathy go a long way. Acknowledge people's contributions, show appreciation, and be mindful of how your words and actions impact others. Building rapport isn't just about being friendly, it's about creating trust and mutual respect. When people feel valued, they're more likely to collaborate effectively and support you in achieving common goals. Conflict is inevitable in any workplace, but how you handle it can make all the difference. Communication plays a critical role in resolving conflicts and maintaining a positive work environment. When disagreements arise, focus on addressing the issue, not attacking the person. Use I statements to express your perspective without placing blame, like, "I feel concerned about the timeline for this project," instead of "You're not managing the timeline well." This approach fosters dialogue rather than defensiveness and paves the way for constructive solutions. Effective communication in professional settings also involves recognizing and respecting diversity. Every workplace is a melting pot of different backgrounds, perspectives, and communication styles. Being aware of and sensitive to these differences can help you connect with people on a deeper level. It's about being open-minded, asking questions to understand others' viewpoints, and finding common ground. This inclusivity not only strengthens relationships, but also fosters a culture of collaboration and innovation. Lastly, remember that communication is a two-way street. It's not just about expressing yourself, but also about creating space for others to share their thoughts and ideas. Encourage open dialogue, ask for input, and be willing to consider different perspectives. This collaborative approach not only strengthens relationships, but also leads to better outcomes. When everyone feels heard and valued, the entire team thrives. As you navigate your professional journey, keep in mind that communication is a skill you'll continue to refine throughout your life. It's not about being perfect, it's about being intentional, adaptable, and authentic. Each interaction is an opportunity to learn, to grow, and to make a positive impact. So the next time you're in a meeting, writing an email, or having a one-on-one conversation, take a moment to reflect on how you're showing up. Are you clear, empathetic, and engaged? Are you listening as much as you're speaking? Are you fostering connection and understanding? Your ability to communicate effectively can open doors you never imagined. It can help you build meaningful relationships, lead with confidence, and achieve your goals. So embrace it, practice it, and let it be the foundation of your success. Because when you master the art of communication, you're not just building a career, you're building a legacy. Chapter 10. Continuous Improvement. Mastering Communication Skills. You can't stop improving. Not now, not ever. If you truly want to master communication, it's not something you do once and call it a day. It's something you keep working on every single day. You don't just arrive at being a great communicator, you grow into it, step by step, making constant adjustments and learning from every interaction. That's the reality of life. Nothing that's worth achieving happens without continuous effort. The truth is, communication is an ongoing skill that requires lifelong attention. You might think you've got it down after a few successful conversations, but the moment you get comfortable is the moment you stop growing. And growth, especially in communication, is where your true potential lies. If you stop improving, you start slipping, and that can show up in your relationships, your career, and the way you connect with people. So what does continuous improvement look like in communication? It starts with practice, constantly putting in the effort. But more than that, it's about the kind of mindset you carry with you. If you approach every conversation with the mentality that you are learning, growing, and refining, you're already halfway there. The key is to embrace this as a part of who you are, someone who never stops growing, never stops becoming better. And the best part, there's always room for improvement. Even if you think you're good, you can always be better. You can always refine how you listen, how you speak, how you connect with others. The path to mastery is a journey without a finish line. The more you communicate, the more you learn, and the more you realize how much there is to learn. Start by being intentional. Every conversation, every exchange you have is an opportunity for growth. You don't have to wait for a big moment to practice. Communication happens everywhere, every day. Whether you're talking to a colleague, your partner, your friend, or even a stranger, it's all a chance to sharpen your skills. You might think that only big conversations count, those presentations or critical meetings, but the truth is that the small everyday interactions are just as important. In fact, they're often where your growth begins to show. If you can master the way you communicate in these everyday moments, the bigger conversations will become second nature. One of the most powerful tools you can use in your pursuit of better communication is self-reflection. This is where you really start to take control of your development. After any conversation, ask yourself, how did it go? Was I clear? Was I confident? Did I listen well? Did I understand the other person, or was I too focused on myself? These reflections are crucial. They show you where you're doing well and where you need to improve. And here's the thing, you'll always find areas to improve. That's the beauty of self-reflection. It doesn't end, it just evolves. Another tool you can use is feedback. Getting feedback from others is one of the fastest ways to identify blind spots. The people around you, your family, friends, colleagues, are often the best mirrors of your communication skills. Don't shy away from asking them for honest feedback. It's not always easy to hear, but it's necessary. It's not about taking it personally. It's about recognizing that their input is a gift, an opportunity for you to grow. They might point out things you never even noticed about yourself. They could tell you that you interrupt too much, or maybe they'll share how your body language doesn't always match your words. Whatever it is, take it to heart and use it to improve. Here's the thing, communication is a two-way street. Not only do you need to work on your ability to speak clearly, but you also need to work on your ability to listen. Active listening is one of the most powerful skills you can develop. So take the time to listen, really listen, to what others are saying. Don't just wait for your turn to talk. Focus on understanding them, not just replying. This not only helps you understand the person you're speaking with, but also improves the quality of your response. If you're always focused on yourself, or your next point, you'll miss important details. And missing those details means missing the chance to truly connect. So listen with intent. When you do, you'll notice a significant shift in how you communicate. Another way to ensure continuous improvement is to set personal communication goals. These goals don't have to be monumental, they just need to be specific and achievable. It could be as simple as I will listen more than I speak in my next conversation, or I will make sure to ask more open-ended questions today. Setting these small, achievable goals helps you stay focused and intentional, and with every goal you hit, you build confidence in your abilities. But don't stop there. Seek out resources to help you improve. There's no shortage of books, podcasts, workshops, and courses out there that can take your communication skills to the next level. If you're serious about growth, tap into these resources and invest in your learning. Whether it's reading about body language, learning how to give powerful presentations, or diving into negotiation tactics, there is always something new to learn. It's not about trying to be perfect. It's about being better than you were yesterday. Something else that can help you refine your skills is practicing with others. If you can, get together with friends or colleagues and practice public speaking, having tough conversations, or just discussing random topics. Role-playing can teach you a lot about how to respond in different situations, and it's a great way to work out the kinks before they happen in real-life scenarios. The more you practice, the easier it becomes to handle high-stress situations where communication really counts. When it comes to communication, it's easy to fall into the trap of thinking you've reached a certain level and that's enough. But true mastery is never about getting to a point where you stop trying. It's about constant refinement. It's about always searching for that next level, that next area of growth. Communication is a skill that will serve you in every area of life, whether you're giving a presentation at work, negotiating a deal, or simply talking to someone you care about. The better you get at it, the more powerful your impact becomes. Your ability to connect with people, to share your ideas, and to inspire action is directly tied to how well you communicate. So keep pushing yourself, keep practicing, reflecting, and seeking feedback. Stay open to learning and growing, because there's always room to get better. Mastering communication isn't about being perfect, it's about being better, more intentional, and more effective with every conversation you have. This is your journey. Embrace it. Never stop improving. Your growth starts now.